Hi, good afternoon YouTube, it's Dave O'Dart here. I've decided to do a little video on one of the supporting tests I haven't yet covered in any of my videos, and that is the sight reading test. I've got plenty of students going for their exams on Friday, and all my students do the sight reading test because it becomes compulsory at grade 5 anyway. So if you've been spending time learning how to sight read through the earlier grades, by the time you get to grade 5, the idea is you've got quite a lot of experience. So you need to source some sight reading to practice, and if you haven't already, Trinity have published 2 books. They're called Sound at Sight, as book 1 and 2, and they've got plenty of actual examples in that you can try for yourself. Or alternatively, there's a website called Sight Reading Central that also has, and it's quite cheap, a download where you can get plenty of exercises to try. So tips for tackling sight reading. This isn't grade specific, this is just a general advice, okay? On the day of your exam, you're going to be given an example to learn, and you only get 30 seconds to try it. You need to look at the complete piece of music in those 30 seconds, and I would physically try and play it. Don't just sit there and look at it and try and learn it and think, yes, I know how that goes, and then when they ask you to play it, you play a few notes and suddenly your body won't do what you ask it to do. So physically try the patterns. Second tip, don't spend too long on the first bar. Because if you spend ages trying to work out what the pattern is, you don't get to look at the last half of the piece. And I did this in a couple of my exams and immediately regretted it, because as soon as I started playing it, I wasn't ready for the end of the passage. And I think on one of my exams I forgot one of the repeats as well. So look at the whole thing and make sure you've eyed up everything that's going on there. That includes whether it's on the hi-hat or ride cymbal. Now in the books that we've got here, they haven't republished these. It's got the old way where the cymbal's always written on the top line of the stave, and it just says HH for hi-hat and RC for ride cymbal. However, I've been informed that the new sight reading examples that have now come out have the hi-hat and the ride cymbal in the correct place on the stave, but it will also say HH and RC. So simple mistake to make if you're not careful. So just make sure you're playing the right cymbal. Look at the dynamics. A lot of people play the piece and they play it really well, but they'll never score full marks because they don't observe the dynamics, and the dynamics give the piece character. So make sure that you work out when you're supposed to be loud or quiet or whatever, and add that to the performance. Third tip, the notation will normally have some text at the start of it. So in the early grades it just says moderato, which means play it moderately, not fast, not slow. Use your common sense. Don't rush into it. Don't think, oh, I can play that easily, so I'll play it 100 miles an hour to impress them. It won't impress them. What will impress them is if you're controlled and composed and you take your time. Don't make it go really slow so it's dragging, but play it at a sensible speed so that you're able to read along and play it accurately without having to stop. Because if you stop and have to restart, that's not good. It's going to lose your points. Okay? So when you're asked to play it, just play it sensible speed and play it from start to finish without stopping. Also have a look at the text, because sometimes that gives you a clue. Sometimes, especially at the upper grades, you'll look at the notation and you'll think, wow, that looks really complicated, but then at the start it will say bossa nova or basic Latin feel or bluesy or something like that, and immediately you can kind of work out what it would sound like in your head. So then you just have to get the pattern sort of matched up with the sound in your head for that particular style of drumming. So that can be really helpful. I think generally is don't stress about sight reading, but put in the work before your exam and get one of these books so that you can try lots and lots of examples before the big day. On the day it's worth 10 marks. Obviously you are going to score some marks no matter how badly you play it. Just don't sit there and say I can't play it, because that's the only time where you'd get a 0. So just if you can't play it exactly, then play the best version of it that you can from start to finish, and you know you're going to score some points. So I think that's it. I mean, it's kind of hard to make a video on this because there's so many different parameters and possibilities in terms of what they could give you. So it's pointless me showing you examples. But hopefully, just remember those key things. Practice it. Don't just sit there and read it. Look at the text. So that will give you a clue, maybe, on how to play it. Make sure you observe the dynamics. And make sure when you are asked to play it, you get from start to finish as best as you can, little mistakes and all, without stopping. And that is my advice for sight reading. If you've got any questions, then obviously put a question down below and I'll try and answer it as best as I can. But best of luck to you, all of you going for exams. I've got 20 going in on Friday, so best of luck. Hope you watch this video and I shall see you all soon. All right, bye.